Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Pens and Pixels Huntercast. I'm your host, Cal G, and to my left is the coordinator extraordinator,
Mike Kent.
And in this episode, we're going to be going over chapters 365 and 366 of the Hunter x Hunter Manga.
So the chapters have continued, surprisingly.
I know. I found the new episode, or the new chapter today, and I was shocked. They always do give us a warning, right, before they
do?
Yeah, there's usually actually, no, you're right. No, there's not. It's just at the end of a random chapter, and they're like, hiatus is resuming now, and you're like, oh, well, all right, this will end when I'm like 46.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine ending when I'm 46 at the rate it's going right now.
Probably won't.
There was a rumor, I don't know if we talked about in the last episode, I don't think we did, but there was an unverified rumor that Togashi said that his back was better. In some it was either the One Piece
I heard that too, but
yeah.
I mean that they said that last time too when he started 10 chapters and he's like, oh, he must be better.
Yeah.
And
it could just be someone speculating that, and then it got turned into a bigger rumor.
I will give it one thing: is that he's drawing better than he ever has in the last fucking 10 years.
Yeah, the last couple chapters have been much nicer to look at.
Yeah, he's finally drawing everything again, which is and he's doing the new face shapes. He's exploring backgrounds. His environments actually look like he uses a ruler.
Well, it's not the messy scribbles that we'd seen during that Chimera Dark.
No.
So what we're going to be doing in this episode is going over chapters 365, 366, as I said, a brief synopsis, just trying to get you up to speed on what's going on here. Yeah. And then we're going to be going to the community, some from the subreddit, some from forum, and just seeing what everyone is thinking right now and what the theories are and what everything is going on.
And we'll go off of those and give you kind of our perspective and what we're thinking as well.
Yeah.
And you guys can join in, of course, and tell us what you think. You can comment down below, or you can send us an email, or you can tweet at us, any one of those things.
If you have anything to say about Hunter x Hunter you want covered on the podcast, or you want to ask us a question or a comment, you can email us at meetpensandpixels@gmail.com.
That's good.
All right, let's get started with chapter 365.
Which was a lot of talking. It
was a ton of talking, and when you boil down this chapter to okay, what really happened? It was two things. Yeah. Two things of significance, right? Yeah. So, Kurapika, he met with this other prince, the third prince. And they exchanged information with the Nen Beast. Yeah. Or what Nen is, in actuality. Yeah, he had to explain the concept to him.
Because that was the whole thing, right? That Kurapika made the big announcement about Nen publicly to make everyone freak out and realize there was a threat, so that he could get someone interested to find out what he knows in exchange for him getting information he doesn't know about, which is the situation with the rest of the guards and the princes and the whole succession war that's happening, right? Because he has no clue. He's basically responding at this moment. All the while, constantly running Emperor time, sucking the life out of himself, and wearing contacts to try and cover up his red eyes.
Yeah. I mean, in this world, would it even be that suspicious that you have red eyes? You'd be like, whatever, just another fucking freak.
That's the thing. One of his guards, I think, has a giant horn for a nose and shit like that. It's just I wouldn't have been like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I would have been like, okay, guy's got red glowing eyes, not a big deal.
Fucking, what is it? Was it Shoot? It walks around with floating hands, and
everyone's in cages.
Nen doesn't exist. You're like,
yeah. Nobody knows about this mysterious thing.
You're like, really?
Okay, so what happens is he meets the third prince, who he gets connected to because I want to say it's the housekeeper of the queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, or something. The queen's accomplice or whatever connected Kurapika to the third one rather than the first one because she's scared of the first one.
Yeah, which
she's he's bloodthirsty.
Yeah, the first is the tiger-looking.
Kind of looks like a Kuma.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we're all familiar with that reference, which I'm hoping you are.
If you're listening to a manga podcast, I would assume you know who Akuma is.
Yeah, I would imagine. So they exchange information, and that's basically the short of it. And at the end of the chapter, Kurapika is, he's worried about the amount of time he has to spend in Emperor time, and is there ever going to be a tiny creature that they can use Little Eye with, so the queen can end up spying?
Yeah, he's been trying to. I think she could probably find an animal somewhere to use it on easily, but he wants it on one that's useful.
Oh, wait, it's not even in this chapter. It's in the next chapter. I'm getting all fucked up.
No, he talks about it in this one. But nevertheless, really the chapter is just about that, about the succession war, and they come to an agreement eventually to discuss, to share bodyguard duties, and basically just work out an agreement that's mutually beneficial for the two of them.
So now that prince that he just met with, two of his bodyguards are with Kurapika, and another guy from the second prince?
I think it's the first prince.
Is it the first prince?
This is part of the confusion, the whole thing, but I think the one that's standing there that they're really worried about, that they know if they stop watching for even half a second will go assassinate him.
So they let him into the room.
Yeah.
That guy's from the first prince.
That's from the first
I'm saying the guys who Kurapika is bringing back.
Oh.
There's one from that guy's prince, but there's another guy who tags along.
Yeah, I think it's about splitting up the prince's bodyguards between many of them, so that not one of them gets away with it.
Yeah, so nothing can. Yeah,
because like if anyone sees a prince getting killed, that entire family gets wiped out. So
yeah,
you have to do it in a conspicuous way so that it doesn't look like you murdered anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
So if a guard is there from every single family, you can't do anything because if one sees it, they can go, "Ha, you killed that guy. Now I get to kill all of you."
Yep.
So
let's start chapter 366, which is way more things are going on here. Introducing a lot of character names that no one is going to fucking remember.
No. There's 1,000 fucking bodyguard names.
But we start off with Biscuit.
Yeah.
Haven't seen Biscuit in a long time.
Yeah. And Hanzo, the ninja guy from the Hunter exam way back. The only person we probably don't know the Nen ability for.
Yeah, when I saw him, I was like, is that him? I was like, that gotta be him, I guess, right? Yeah.
It's a ninja guy. And they're talking about how the Nen Beast actually can see that they can see, like they know that the Nen Beast can know that the Nen users can see it.
Yeah, which is
like,
I thought about that. I was like, okay, are they just like, being fat and happy? These Nen Beasts just like chilling, whatever, don't really care, don't think anyone can see them or don't know.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting point I think to hit on in going future. Is it just this one or is it all of them?
I gotta get the sense from the last one when you got to see the third prince's Nen disc sun monster thing. It looked like it was like staring back.
Yeah, it's true.
Like that was looking at it and then looked back. It was like,
the little sun crest thing.
Yeah,
I got the like. Did you get an from him?
Yes.
I got more of like, Sebra. Like squinty little eyes. Can
you imagine if it just looked like, yo,
Snoop? Starts playing Snoop Dogg in the background. Okay,
it like leaves his side and goes over to like a deck machine and like reaches out and pushes play and goes back and just like takes that somber stance while like Snoop Dogg plays in the back.
Snoop. All right, so this chapter basically we get like almost every page is a new prince. It's like going over what all the princes are doing right now and what is going on.
And the bodyguards, so they're covered in front of them, which, as per typical fashion for Togashi, though, like he gives this information out. Will it come into play where you actually have to worry about it when you read the story later on? No.
That's the thing. I'm looking
like 5 or 6 of them are getting wiped out in one panel, and they're just going to be like, "Why did you even tell me their names?"
That's the thing. When I was reading this earlier, I was looking at this like earnest like puppet looking motherfucker, and like I was like, it was bodyguard Laloche, and I was like, God, do I need to remember this guy? Probably not.
No.
Like that's the thing. But it's interesting that he's like, he's.
But they did that for like Greed Island. They did it for the Ant Arc. They kept bringing in randomer characters and side characters that show up for like a chapter, and then like either they just didn't show up again and didn't have an important moment, and if it did, it was like going back and being like, hey, I reported this thing. Okay, great, thanks. Or they just got wiped out instantly.
Yeah, they're just gone. So yeah, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this sleeping prince right here, or is this just the bodyguards?
This is the bodyguards.
This is just bodyguards. That little mouse motherfucker's there. Yeah. And he's about to probably wreak havoc. He's a threat.
I think, actually, that's... No, you're right, it is. Sorry. It probably is. I thought the mouse was the prince that Kurapika was guarding.
Yeah, but I think it's just
there.
I think it's just going out. I think it's just like all over the boat now.
Yeah, it's just going to go ask if you're busy.
Yeah. Hey, you busy, motherfucker? You want to fuck with me? All right.
It'd be so much better if the mouse sounded like fucking Samuel L. Jackson. Are you busy, motherfucker?
Do I look like a mouse?
Do I look like I'm fucking around?
Are you busy? Say it one more time. Say you're busy.
I couldn't say I wasn't busy to Samuel L. Jackson. I'd be like, no.
Okay, so we got this other prince, I guess is...
Yeah, so there was a twin set. We actually did get introduced to them a little earlier on, just like in a single panel.
And they're, he's looking at a picture on his phone, French Alps.
French Alps.
I don't know what's going on there.
The Hunter Alps. And they're happy together, and this one with the black hair is looking sad. That obviously that they're not with the other twin, who's the blonde. But then they switch over to the other prince, the other twin, the blonde, who's acting like a cunt.
He's not incorrect.
Not incorrect. Throwing food around and stuff, but that's the interesting part about this panel was that Melody picks up that she's putting on a show.
Yeah,
because like all of the guards are right now walking around going like, "Oh, I just wish she'd get killed. She's such a cunt. I don't want to deal with her."
You're saying cunt an awful lot. They didn't say that in the chapter anywhere.
I wish they did. But then she's lying, and it's a really good theory that's out there is that she's doing this to try and draw attention to herself, so that she gets assassinated and that protects the other twin.
Yeah, the other twin. Yeah.
Which just seems correct. When I read this, I was like, "That's
that seems like exactly what it is." Yeah. And Melody is super perceptive.
Yeah.
I was gonna say perceptive. What's wrong with me? What the fuck?
What are the numbers though? Was it the room numbers?
That's what I was thinking, or like the deck number, room number type thing. Because I don't want to spoil anything. The last panel, There's a reason for that number, but also like it seemed like that was like the busy deck that was all shitty and it had the most numbers. So it was like here's random fucking whatever.
Yeah. I think you're right. Okay.
And these ones are all like 4-digit numbers. You know, very like top of the 1009.
Yeah.
So then we get the Sleeping Prince with a feather in his wrist.
Yeah, he wakes up. He had a dream he was sure was real, and he's like, I sure something was happening. There's a feather in his wrist. When I read this first, I was like, what, did he get poisoned by something? Like he thought something happened while he was asleep?
Yeah, I thought it was like a dart someone blew at him in his sleep or something. Yeah.
But maybe it's, and one of the theories out there is that this is his Nen beast. It like lets him see things like when he dreams and when he sleeps.
Yeah, see, either when he sleeps, it's something that he can see the future.
Yeah.
And that's part of his ability.
Yeah.
And this is just speculation. We don't know for sure. But I think that's...
It's a good, neat theory. It's
I think
a valid one. I mean, like, there's been a couple of little hints at that as an idea throughout the rest of the chapters. Something about him seeing a bunch of dead bodies and stuff like that. So, it's interesting if that's the case.
Then we got the big burly prince.
Sail.
Yeah, that's right. Good name. Is it Saleh?
Saleh.
There's a little accent aigu over the E. Saleh. Andale. And he's in bed with his two bottom bitches, it looks like, I guess. I don't really know.
Which the mom's perfectly comfortable with.
And the mom's like, hey.
Wait, what's on the floor? Is it just stuff, or is it anything specific?
It looks like just trash. Maybe it's supposed to be food. This looks like a dog face.
This looks like a dog face. Some of the stuff looks like anal beads.
Yeah, that one definitely does right here.
Yeah. Okay, so he just had a really good night.
Yeah, he has had a great night. Everyone's sticking things in other orifices. He doesn't need Nen to have fun on this boat. He doesn't care. Anyways, mom breaks in and she's like, hey,
could you designed your Nen for sex?
I mean, I guess you could if you lived such a life of luxury. If you're I don't
like a prostitute or something.
You're like, what do people usually use this for? Oh, they all like fight clowns in that tower over there. And they're like, oh no, I don't want any of that.
No.
I just want my dick to be like 3 inches? 3 inches longer. And they're like, okay.
You know the rabbit? It's gonna just turn into that and spin.
Oh well, you can't extend it. You're an enhancer. Can I pound harder? Just breaks their hips immediately. Okay, yeah. So his mom's like, could you be a little more responsible with this whole thing? And you're just getting laid on this boat. And he's like, I got a fucking plan. The plan's gonna happen at the banquet.
He said at the banquet dinner, the world's gonna change. So I think that's just the writers doing something as a hint, being like, we will peak this whole Prince prepping thing. I get this as like if you're going to talk about momentum arcs in storytelling, right? We've had a dip down since Kurapika shut down the Nen monster. That was like the whole thing then.
Yeah,
it was dipping down. Now we're ramping up. But if you're looking at the larger arc with the whole Prince thing, we've been slowly getting information and going up, so it's like a wave.
I really like this chapter. I'm really glad to finally see everyone and mentally get them in my head.
Swoops up from the down to get to the peak of the whole thing. I think something huge is going.
We're in the rising action right now. Yeah, climax is coming.
The big whatever the fuck fucks everything up, and a lot of people start dying is going to happen within the next 3 to 4 chapters.
And there's even more proof to maybe prove your theory, but we'll keep going here. Mm-hmm. The next prince is a stoner.
Yeah,
great.
But this prince I actually liked. I love this panel because before this, I'm like, wow, this guy gave birth to 26 cunts. Just 26 awful people. You know? I'm just like, all of these people suck. None of them deserve to be prince. I hope they all die, and then if anyone survives, they die on the island, right? I'm just like, none of these work. But this panel and this chapter started giving new light to different princes, and this one was really cool. It was a prince that, kind of cares.
Yeah, he seems to
be, does care.
He's like, hey, what do they call it? Clean leaves recipe. And they're talking about using it to help people.
Yeah,
it makes them healthier.
Apparently, it's a clean smoke. Maybe it's like a cigarette or smoking. I guess vaping, as you can hear us go off as we're doing ours.
Yeah, they got a hookah in the background here. And
shit. They're talking about patenting it, and he's like, it's completely legal. But he's like, some of my heavy smoker friends actually got healthier from smoking it. And then he's like, we're going to use it as a rehabilitation drug for drug addicts. And he's talking about how we could use that, and maybe we could. And he's not even like, how can we use it to sell this to drug rehabilitation addicts?
After there was no. That's where I was expecting him to go. He's gonna be like, oh, we can get real rich off this.
After that, he's like, well, if we could do clinical trials to release this just generally to the public and help everyone, could we do that? And they're like, of course. And you're like, oh.
And it would be easier. Yeah, it'd be easier if you were king. That'd be the fastest way to do it.
You deserve to be king. I'd make you king.
Yeah, I found this really endearing.
And I need to be endeared to some of the princes rather than just being like, I hope this thing gets bloody.
Yeah, because so far you're like, okay, they're all kind of shitty. Except maybe the twin might want to sacrifice herself. I don't know. Yeah. Next up is this
thing.
Yeah, this thing.
I don't even know if it's a child or if it's older, but I can't tell.
I can't tell either. This is if you're following along with the manga, which I suggest you do as you're listening to this. This is the room 1006, and it's her own little Bible she made. He made. I'm not sure.
Or it's a religion that he or she found.
The Tathon Canon.
Yeah.
Tathon Canon. Anyways, the bodyguards read the book, and it says Chapter 1: Love will always triumph in the end.
And they just close it.
And then they just close it. And there's this great little line of dialogue where it says, "Would you like me to show you how to praise someone for a book you haven't read yet?" It's a funny thing to offer.
This is good.
But that prince just seems totally like that's gonna be cannon fodder. Just gonna get wiped off the map probably at some point.
Pretty quickly, unless like her Nenbis is God.
Yeah. Which you never know. You never know with this manga. So then room 1005.
We've got the prince we've met before. I think this is which prince was this? I forget. But he was the calculating one.
Yeah, clearly there's the chalkboard in the background.
Like in the other chapters, like he never leaves his room, and he's been like constantly planning, and he's very like cold and calculating, and he was very cold. And we just go over what he's been talking about and dealing with, which really isn't much.
No, this page is whatever.
Yeah. And then we get into our serial killer. Look, one of the first princes you meet was this guy who was like killing women in his bathroom.
I forgot until you told me that again. This thing I totally passed my mind. But he seems to be like a Nen genius.
Yeah, because he found out about Nen earlier on, and they're like, I want to learn it, and you're like, okay, well, whatever. Learning Nen naturally takes years, and then he's just here, and he's like, oh, I did it.
Yeah, and they're like, we'll start off by doing trials, all this shit, and he's like, oh no, here we go, I did it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. So, again, there's a theory about going around about him, or just people are speculating, like, he's either going to be someone, like, he's going to get wiped off real early so we don't get to see his potential, but I think they're probably setting him up to be a big threat.
Well, because they've put him in so early, I think they're setting him up to be a big threat, or I think that maybe that will be, like, kind of the shocking twist is because he generates Nen abilities and he starts to be able to see the Nen monsters, he starts to play with them because he's insane, and he gets caught up into it and just gets absorbed because, like, the world of Nen is so massive. Like, no matter how genius you are at it, you being a fucked up idiot is just going to probably fuck you up at the end of the day.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they take that guy, too. But then we get to the princess.
Camilla.
Is this Camilla? Camilla? Whatever her name. Wants her mom to kill Benjamin.
Yeah. Because she's fucked up.
Yeah.
She's just a cunt.
Yeah, she was like, we're gonna kill him. And she's like, you don't have to tell me that, dear. And she's like, no, I want you to kill him. You're like, what?
It was a great mother-daughter relationship.
And we get this bodyguard who is eavesdropping into the conversation with his, like, robo-nen owl. Which is great. I looked at this, I really, like, looked at this for a while. I was like, what's happening?
I'm not sure how this is all working, because he's got, like, a screen for an eye, and then there's this, I guess he looks through the eye of the owl, and then the thing that comes out of his ear is like a recording device that he can record into.
Yeah, it's really hard to say.
I don't know, but he's got a recording power.
Yeah, he's got a Nen owl. He can't be all bad.
I always find it funny with the Nen powers of how applicable they are a lot of the time whenever he has this side like bullshit Nen power. One, you have an ability to create a power that could do almost anything, and you choose to spy with it. Like, you could do anything. You just make a bird the spies, or a fucking ability to take over an animal. Like, yeah. God. Anyways, but on top of all that, it's funny how many people have spying powers all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's real convenient for this. But I mean, if you, I guess, let's try. I'm going to try to legitimize it a little bit. He's 20, and you already know what your career wants to be. You want to be a bodyguard, and you want to get into that line of work. Maybe when you're finally developing your Nen when you're older, because not everyone is as gifted as Gon and Killua and Kurapika here. Maybe as they're developing it when they're older, they're like, okay, I know I want to be a bodyguard. I know I'm going to this profession. I'm going to do something that will aid me. And maybe not, a giant Nen sword or something to, like, kill people like or fight would be very useful, too.
I make an ability, like, just to make a wall, like, make a literal wall.
As a defense, like a big barrier?
Like, you just, like, you're in a hallway and everyone's like, get him. You're like, new wall. Like, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? But maybe it's just like I want to be a spy. Maybe they're all thinking that. That's why there's so many spies on this boat. I mean, everyone's bodyguard, spy, whatever. I can internally rationalize it with my headcanon there. So then Kirby goes back with everybody. He has this like revelation about like, I don't know how long I'm gonna be an emperor time.
Yeah, so this is where he's gonna be like, I gotta get the queen to use the ability to take over an animal soon, or I'm fucked, because I have no idea how long it's going to take for me to get an animal. Because he's looking around going, like, if I try and use it right now, everyone's going to see her do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Which is going to be like a big, like, look at me.
And he has to keep Emperor Time on for her to continue to have that ability, right?
No, once he uses it, he's fine.
And there's this lovely drawing of some skull with some
flowers,
some carnations. I'm not sure what these are. Yeah, this is just really this is nice.
But I mean, like,
I feel like you just felt like drawing a skull.
This I kind of only interesting on the word wise is that this is the first time that Kurapika's gone back and looked at the fact that he's placed so many fucking conditions on his abilities. Where he's like, I was too naive. These abilities that these conditions is far more dangerous than I ever imagined. And I'm like, no fucking shit.
Yeah, for sure.
You really, when you did this and you were just like really angry, you just took way too many liberties.
Yeah, for sure. And then we get to the last panel. 37564. This is clearly a lower deck where a bunch of people are, right? It's like where the commoners are and shit. And someone sees a roach and stomps it, which is a nice little like, whoa, where's there an animal on this boat? And it's like, roach right there.
There are lots of roaches.
So yeah,
and then he's like, where the hell did these damn things keep coming from? And then like he's like, I wish there was a roach on the top floor.
Yeah, so that'll probably be the end.
And it's also the tie-in because it's Crollo, so it's like a big fuck you to Kurapika, being like, you're dying right now while Crollo's just stepping on what you need.
Yeah. Well, this other guy's the drunk guy talking to Crollo. So we gotta look at Crollo, and he's just downtrodden. He's a sad-looking man.
Yeah.
And
he's like, you're looking like you're about to kill someone.
You've probably gone through a lot, too, leading up to getting on this boat. Now that you're here, you should forget about all your worldly ties. It's hard, isn't it? Ties are not forgotten. They're severed. So he looks down. He clearly knows
that at least 2 of the spiders are dead. At
least 2. Yeah. And there's always also this phrasing, which I saw some people not arguing, talking about, where it says, on the boat, a spider. Now, is this just referring to Crollo, like, here's a spider? Or is
I think it's just stating a fact of what's going on. It's like, hey, by the way, look, we found 1 spider on the boat. Not that there is only 1 spider.
I mean, I would imagine other people made it on.
Yeah, because they showed the team, like, going, like, we're all going to go try and steal shit, right? And they had the whole competition where they all try and steal more shit, and who comes back wins, right? So I think that's the case. So it's just, hey, by the way, Crollo's on the boat of the spiders, like he made it on, along with probably others, right? And he's definitely pissed because, you know,
Hisoka is murdering fools.
Yeah. Now, as to has he murdered more since then?
Yeah, that's the thing. Or is it just Shellnark? Or and that's the thing too is we don't know if what's her fuck the
Kotopi.
Yeah, it's Kortopi. We don't know if what's her name the girl spider.
I forgot.
May. Let's call her May. We don't know if she has now contacted Crollo and been like, "Hey, watch out, Hisoka is living again for some reason."
Yeah.
And he squeezed his lungs, and he's coming after everybody. He killed Shellnark and Kartopi. Or did someone else?
Did it all with 1 leg.
Or and someone else floated the theory that maybe the in Crollo's book, maybe Shellnark's ability just disappeared because he died.
Because that's one of the. I think that's a cool idea. That he'd be like, you look in his book and see that Kuratopi and Shellnark's abilities are gone, and he's like, oh fuck, the only way they're gone is that they're dead. So, you know, like that would piss him off.
I never liked Shellnark that much until he went Super Saiyan in that one episode.
I didn't like anything about his abilities.
I didn't like the fact that his head looked like a child's head. Yeah, it always like threw me off. He looked like an adult, but like it was child head.
He was so anticlimactic to everyone else. Like there's the memory bullet girl, which you're like, whoa, right? And then there's the girl who can sew anything into anything, like basically like sewing reality. There's the guy who can turn his body into a flute to make things into reality. You know, just keep going down the list, and then there's the guy with the remote control.
Yeah.
You know, that tied to also the guy who more he winds his fist, he punches harder.
There was also the dude, I forget his name. Dude with a lot of hair, and he had like his collars up to his face, and then he just did that like supernova attack. He got all that armor.
Oh yeah. And he had the umbrella, and then
he's dope as fuck. Yeah. I really like him.
Oh yeah, and then there's the girl with the vacuum. Even then, the vacuum fucking cleaner, like
I like the vacuum cleaner one.
Like that's cool. At least a thing instead of just like I can wind my fist up a lot to punch, or I have a remote control with 2 antennae. That's all he has. Just
he
2.
went Super Saiyan though, which I was like, you got me, you got me. Okay, so let's. What do you think of these 2 chapters, Mike? I really enjoyed 366.
I enjoyed 366
a lot. I really like the idea that I can now finally in my head get I know we've got to look at some of them before, but now I have a clear picture of like all these princes, vaguely what they're up to, maybe what their motivations are, what kind of person they might be.
That I like. That's my number 1.
Yeah, that's like it's because before they were talking about them so abstractly, and I'm just like, oh, the 6th prince, and I was like, how do I keep track of this?
I was also getting really tired that every single chapter it'd just be like princes, and they just keep walking by the panels over and over again, like they're at another banquet, walking around each other, and then like a name tag floats above their heads, 13th prince, and you're like, fuck, like. why do I care about these people at all?
Yeah, exactly.
And now I've gotten some personality behind them. So like, just like the drug dealer one, he's not really a drug dealer.
No,
he's
the
like a pharmaceutical guy.
Yeah, the guy smoking a hookah.
Yeah, like I like him. I hope he doesn't die immediately.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he will die, but
there's just so many characters now. It's gonna be interesting to see which ones get the longer story threads, like the serial killer probably, or
the serial killer's gonna have a longer one,
or the bitchy one who's just trying to sacrifice herself for the twin. Like, is that gonna go anywhere? Or is that gonna be an immediate?
Are we gonna have someone walking around literally trying to convert people to the Church of Love or whatever the fuck it was?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like,
is that gonna be some goofy thing that's going on? Yeah,
like, it makes the princes suddenly more interesting. However, I still have to say the part that pisses me off about all this is that the princes are still such a second tier story arc. The island, the Dark Continent, is the story.
So I think in a couple of years we're going to be looking back on this as the Succession War arc and not the Dark Continent arc yet, because we're not at the Dark Continent arc yet. Like we're getting there sometime.
Yeah,
but this is like the boat arc. You know?
Yeah, I know. But that's the part that kind of gets me. Is that it's also like, why does this matter? And I know he will tie it in.
Yeah,
like,
I think eventually. I think we'll know by the end.
The ant arc felt like filler to me the whole time because I'm like, okay, so we're going to go and try and find Gon's dad. But this entire thing is just spontaneously there are super powerful ants that threaten the world.
I know what you mean by filler in that like it doesn't.
It just popped up and had no connection to pushing Gon's story forward.
The rest of anything else. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it didn't push Gon's story forward because like even at least Greed Island was a game made by his dad, right? You're like, okay, there's something. So it felt like kind of fillery. But then by the end of that, when they finally tied it all in, we're like, oh, Killua's brother is possibly from there, and then also at the same time, the ants are from this other continent, and then that turned out to be Gon's dad's goal the whole time was to find where all these crazy things keep coming from.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so there's your larger story to wrap up. Currently, right now, it's just a bunch of whiny bitches.
It's just like what's Kurapika up to? Oh, he's fucked. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed this latest chapter, and I really enjoyed the end there, which we finally... Because, I mean, Hisoka fighting, right? That was like last summer we got to look at that. And we were like stoked on it, and now finally we're getting like a year later. We're like, okay, Cruella found out, you know, and that's what we're waiting for. We want to see.
But that's one of the things I'm worried about. So like doing the kind of like foreshadowing stuff that some of the comments have talked about is like what's going to happen next and what has happened. One of the questions was like, did Cruella think that more spiders had died?
Yeah. So does he know about more deaths? Is he just depressed about Shalnark and Krotopi?
I think it could just be that.
I think so.
I don't see why it would be others.
Did he take it super hard when Enhancer guy died?
Was he around or was he? No, he was around.
Yeah, he was there.
Well, we didn't really get to know
they all had a moment. Remember? Like I remember they all had a moment.
Oh yeah,
in their
slaughtered
lair.
the whole Yorkshire auction as a performance for them. Remember, he's like, "This is for you."
Yeah,
and he so he put on a whole thing. Yeah, I think he cared because he's like we've seen more and more as we saw more of Cruella's character that he like thinks of them as family. Like, they're really important to him because like as a kid they all survived and grew up together.
It was more interesting. It's interesting too that he's more sad than like it wasn't like him rage face. You know, he wasn't like I'm gonna fucking kill Hisoka. He was just like he just looked downtrodden. You know, like life had beat him down. I mean, really, this guy is just this like fucking insane clown who's like keeps following him. He's like, I don't want anything to stop. Okay, fine, I'll fight you. And he beats him. And he's like, done with that. That was annoying for like several years of my life. And then like now he's like, oh, he's killing my friends. Good. He's resurrected from the dead and he's killing my friends. That weird clown man. Good.
It's like Stephen King just made my life.
Yeah.
But I think right now, like the best, the thing that came in my head when you said that is that GIF of Hisoka running that you sent to me the other day.
Yeah, the one with the crazy face.
Crazy face, like that's literally just him right now.
Yeah, he's just.
That'd be funny if they just did it like. Meanwhile, and on the water, there's him just running with that face, trying to get to the boat.
Okay, so now we're gonna go into the community comments and see what everyone's thinking about these latest chapters, what the theories are, what the people are just thinking in general.
Mm-hmm.
Should I say usernames and stuff? Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Sinsui on NeoGaf says, Sinsui? Yeah, Sinsui. I think Cruella will die. He has no purpose to the story anymore. He might as well take a fair amount of important characters with him.
The last bit. But, yeah, I think he's going to die. I think, like, it kind of leads to another comment. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Kurapika's, his storyline's got to be coming to a head.
Yeah.
So if, like, and he wants to get the eyes back from the spiders and all this shit.
I think, like, we got to just get the spiders killed and get Kurapika's story kind of, like, capped off in that component because it's kind of just annoying that it's always in the background where they're like, we're fighting giant godlike ants, but I'm trying to kill some bad guys, some bandits. Shut up, Kurapika. Like, So I think it does need to come to a head, which leads to a lot of people theorizing that Kurapika is going to die in this arc. Which could happen, but I see it like coming to a head, not because of the princes or anything like that, because he fights the spiders, whatever's left of them, and possibly Hisoka. Problem with that, though, is like how long he does have to leave it on, right? Like, if he left it on for like several days, you're suddenly, it's compounding at that point, and you're like, ah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, 2 days fully, but like I can't imagine him having to do it that long. I think I'll be fine. Yeah. So if he dies, it's not going to be due to that.
Oh, it's not going to be due to Emperor time. No, it's going to be due to him fighting Chrollo or having his final climactic battle. Which is one of the big fights.
Chrollo doesn't seem like he'd be interested. Like, is it going to be a case of where like Hisoka comes on and he sees Chrollo and he's like, you, and Chrollo's like, you, and then Kurapika's like, you, but they're like, no, bro, like this is between us.
No, the thing is too is that even if Chrollo is extremely powerful, Kurapika's got all the spiders totally cut off. One, the chain gets even close, no powers. Two, he can kill any one of them, just put the Nen chain in there somewhere. Like he's got 2 chains specifically designed to make sure that they can't even touch him.
Yeah, totally.
Right. And then at the same time, of course, he can turn on all his powers to all aspects at 100% and just basically beat the shit out of them. Which he even tested. He's like, I'm taking your physically strongest guy and beating the shit out of him with my fist.
Yeah.
So the fight between Chrollo and Kurapika, a lot of people are like, oh, I'd love to see that. I'm like, really? It would involve one chain. You take 2 steps and you die. Go home.
But we don't know how much. He can literally write anything for Chrollo for power in that moment to get across it, right? Because he can be like, oh yeah, he stole his power in Nom. It doesn't matter.
I guess
he just has it in his book.
I don't think it would be quite that interesting because the whole fight would just be him trying to not let Kurapika's chains get close enough.
That's the thing. I know it's coming to a head with him and the spiders, because he has a vendetta, but I just don't think they care about him. I think their sights are going to be focused on Hisoka. So. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Someone else commented, is it just me or is it getting harder to keep track of everything? No, it's not just you. It's very hard to keep track
of everybody.
There are too many bodyguard names that probably don't matter. No. And it's just taking up room in your head.
In 3 chapters from now, we're not going to sit back and go, no, same bodyguard number 3, no.
It's going to be one of those things, if you do dedicate any time to memorizing these names, when you're 86, you're going to forget the letter V and 3 vowels, but you're going to be like, I remember Saturkadik from Hunter x Hunter chapter 366. It's not going to matter.
Saturkadik.
And then also, he says also, Sendrik, the serial killer man, figured out that Nen quickly is a little scary. He's definitely going to start some shit later. That's done fucked up. It is done fucked up. This was the really interesting thing. Yeah. Note the number on the last page, 37564. It was the deck number, I guess.
Yeah.
It reads Minagoroshi, and that means massacre. Yeah. Is Tagashi hinting at something?
Well, he just had a big room of people with Chrollo sitting in the center of it. There's not really much of a hint other than just he's clearly going to go, dead. To all of them.
I think that's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
Obviously, you would never be able to pick up on that being English reader, I don't think. But this person did, so hey, whatever.
Yeah, well, he saw the original actual katakana.
This is from I Like Latte on Reddit. That's a good name. I like lattes too. And the last one thing was the song we went over already was the fact that Chrollo he might have known right away with Shalnark's Nen ability not in his book anymore.
Yeah.
Which is how he finds out. Yeah. Anyways, I'm really looking forward to the next couple chapters. Fingers crossed
that it even shows up.
It even shows up, but
we'll keep doing this as long as I keep showing up.
Exactly. So if you enjoyed this episode, please rate, subscribe, all that good shit. If you want to follow me, I'm on Twitter at @TheCalG. Mike is at Mike Kent Draws, and Pens and Pixels is across all social medias. Pick your poison.
And be sure to follow Pens and Pixels on Twitter at PNP_Popcast. We put up a lot of information there as well. We're also on Facebook as the Pens and Pixels Popcast. Again, we put up a lot of different posts on there for different news that we don't report on. So if you like hearing about our regular podcast, which is just the Popcast, and you want to hear about latest news in art and games, in video games, movies that week, then be sure to go over and check us out there. There's lots of great content to check out as well.
Absolutely. And one little thing for Hunter fans, Broken Tier, which is a fighting game clothing line. Actually got a lot of clothes from there. They just released a new design that says Broken X Broken. I think I retweeted it today.
Yeah.
Super dope design. Looks like the Hunter logo. So if you like fighting games and you like Hunter, that's a great crossover. I'm going to order that shirt. So I just thought it was really cool. We're not sponsored by them or anything. I just want to pimp it because I think it's dope.
Yep.
And that's it for this week. Kinoa!
Go on.